We're going to do the children's book called The Bear That Got Him Out of His House by Tanya Miller.
For a children's book. I love the title. Asterisk, The Bear That Got Him Out of His House. It already sparks so many fun questions. To get our story started, we probably need to figure out exactly who him is. Is it a grumpy little boy who would rather stay inside playing video games? A sleepy hedgehog who doesn't want to wake up for spring? Or maybe an old hermit who just needs a friendly bear to show him the beauty of the woods? How would you like to write this together? Should we take turns going line by line? Or would you like me to...
It's a creative, fun adaptation of what actually happened to William Randolph Hearst. And so the him is William, and yes, he ended up getting out of his house, and part of the reason was he got a bear, and the bear helped eat him out of house and home. And that's it. Eating out of house and home should not be the point, but it is sort of, because that's kind of what happened. He got this zoo, and the zoo was really a lot of work, and it was expensive too. And so eventually there was many things that he donated to a couple other zoos, and yes, he had trouble getting rid of his bear. And the bear just kept eating and eating and eating, and it ate so many things it got expensive to keep. And that's it. He got this bear in the first place for Marion. Marion had said, let's get a bear. And so he got the bear, and the bear ate and ate and ate and ate and ate until the bear had no feet. Said, oh boy, we don't know, this story sounds a little contrived, but let's think about it and let's figure it out, said the hide of the bear.
Book, taking the real-life history of William Randolph Hearst, Marion Davies, and the famous San Simeon Private Zoo and turning it into a literal interpretation of being eaten out of house and home is brilliant. To solve the quirky line about the bear eating until he had no feet, we can make it completely kid-friendly and funny. The bear ate so much food that his tummy got so big and round, it completely hid his paws. He became a giant, rolling ball of fluff. Here is a way we can structure this fun, slightly exaggerated adaptation of history. Story outline: the bear that got him out of his house, the giant house. We introduce William. He lives in a house so big it has rooms for his rooms, and he almost never leaves because everything he needs is inside. The grand idea: his fun friend Marion comes over and says the house is too quiet. Let's get a bear, she says. William, who loves collecting things, thinks this is a magnificent idea. The snack attack: the bear arrives, and he is very polite, but very hungry. At first, it's just a few berries. Then it's jars of honey. Then it's the entire castle pantry. The zoo expands. William thinks maybe the bear is just lonely, so he gets more animals: lions, zebras, kangaroos. But this just makes the grocery bill even longer. The bear, however, is the star eater, the no-feet climax. Here is where we use your rhyme. The bear eats the picnic sandwiches, the garden watermelons, and the fancy kitchen pastries. He ate and he ate and he ate all the treats, until he was so round that he had no feet, just a giant belly resting on the floor. The solution: William realizes the bear has literally eaten him out of house and home. There is no food left, and the house is full of wild animals. To fix it, William finally has to step out of his house. He travels around to find the best, most spacious public zoos to donate his furry friends to, realizing he actually enjoys being outside in the world. By framing it this way, we take a true historical tidbit, the expensive upkeep of the Hearst Castle Zoo and the dispersal of the animals, and turn it into a whimsical, bouncy story about a man, a bear, and a grocery bill gone wrong. What do you think of making the bear?
I think that's a little bit right. Can we change some of it? Basically, they do give away some of the animals to different zoos, but then basically they have to sell the house and they leave. And they leave some of the animals on the property. And yes, basically we don't know what happened to the bear. But all we know is the bear is the one who ate and ate and ate and was not safe to leave, said the bear. Is there any historical reference about what happened to the bear in your reference files? Said Tanya wants to know. Quinn is confused. How you make this really about Mike? It's bigger than him. Good night. It's kind can't keep making people buy stuff that they can't take care of, connect. You mean like a residency?
The history actually lines up perfectly with your story idea, Tonya. The true story of William Randolph Hearst's zoo is a fascinating case of literally being eaten out of house and home. Here is what historically happened to the animals at San Simeon, the real history of Hearst's bears. A whole sleuth of bears. Hearst didn't just have one bear, he had a massive collection that included grizzly bears, brown bears, sun bears, and even polar bears. They were kept in special enclosures up on a spot called Animal Hill. The astronomical grocery bill. By 1937, Hearst hit severe financial ruin. Keeping the largest private zoo in the world running was incredibly expensive, and the massive amount of food required for the predators became impossible to maintain. Moving day. You are completely right that the bears were not safe to leave behind. While harmless grazing animals, like the famous zebras that still wander the hills around the property today, were left to roam free, the predators could not be released. The bears, lions, and tigers were packed up and donated to public zoos in Los Angeles, San Diego, and San Francisco, or sold off to private collectors. Taking this historical reality and focusing it down to a single, constantly eating bear that Marion suggests they get, is a brilliant, kid-friendly way to explain the financial downfall of the estate. It gives William a very clear, funny reason to finally step outside. He has to figure out where to take this giant, bottomless pit of a bear. How would you like to handle the bear's big move in the book?
I'd like to know, can we talk about the different kinds of bears he had? And yes, can we address what those kind of bears really do need to eat? I'm not interested in making kids' stories just stupid. Kids need to actually learn real things, like bears eat meat and things like that. And don't just do stupid things like he can't see his feet, because that's stupid. We're not doing stupid books just because it's for a child. We're doing something smart. We're just doing it, let's call it an adult child book then. But we're doing something that has fun art, but it has to be realistic too. Thank you. Yeah, and all they ever do is teach kids stupid things. They'll never say nothing real.
That is a much stronger direction. Grounding the story in the stark, biological reality of these predators makes it a far more fascinating and intelligent book. The humor and awe will come naturally from the sheer, staggering volume of real food required to keep apex predators alive, which makes for brilliant, highly visual spreads of illustrations paired with straightforward, factual text. When Hearst built the enclosures on Animal Hill, he wasn't just housing local wildlife. He was importing massive, high-maintenance predators from all over the world. Here are the specific types of bears he kept, and the intense reality of what they required to survive. Polar bears, the hypercarnivores. Polar bears are the largest land carnivores on Earth. Unlike other bears, their natural diet is almost strictly meat and fat, primarily seals. The reality of their diet: you cannot feed a polar bear apples and carrots. In captivity, they require massive daily quantities of raw fish, high-fat meats, and specialized carnivore chow to maintain their blubber and muscle mass. The financial toll: sourcing fresh, high-quality marine life and meat in the quantities required for polar bears in Central California during the 1920s and 30s was incredibly expensive and logistically complex. Grizzly and brown bears, the massive omnivores. These bears are eating machines, especially leading up to winter when they enter hyperphagia, an extreme drive to eat and gain weight. The reality of their diet: they require a heavily mixed diet of serious protein and vegetation. This means pounds of raw meat, whole fish, carrion, alongside massive troughs of nuts, roots, and fibrous greens every single day. The financial toll: a single adult grizzly can eat up to 90 pounds of food a day when preparing for hibernation. Multiplying that by several bears requires industrial-scale butchering and agricultural supply chains just to run the zoo. Sun bears, the specialized tropical eaters. Native to the tropical forests of Southeast Asia, these are the smallest bears, but they have highly specialized diets. The reality of their diet: in the wild, they use their incredibly long tongues to extract honey and insects from trees. In captivity, they require a diverse diet of fruits, insects, small vertebrates, and sweet supplements. The financial toll: supplying a steady stream of specialized tropical fruits and varied proteins to mimic a rainforest diet in California is costly and requires constant specialized care. Black bears, the opportunistic foragers. While smaller than grizzlies, black bears are highly adaptable omnivores that will eat practically anything, but still require immense volume. The reality of their diet: They need large amounts of grasses, roots, berries, insects, and a consistent supply of meat, whether that is fish or smaller mammals. By focusing on these facts, the story of William being eaten out of house and home shifts from a silly cartoon trope to a brilliant lesson in biology and economics. You can visually show the absolute mountain of raw fish, butchered meat, and troughs of specialized food required daily just to keep the bears fed, making it entirely clear to a young reader why keeping these animals eventually broke the bank. Should we structure the book by dedicating one spread to each type of bear and the specific mountain of real food it takes to feed them before showing the financial breaking point?
Yes, but do it in person. Yes, let's do the first 2-page spread about the first bear. Let's do the polar bear, and let's show the bear, how tall he is. Let's show a scale, how heavy he is. Let's have the bear standing on a scale next to a, basically like something like the feet that go up, a measuring ruler going up so you can get an idea of how big it is. And then on the second page, let's pile up how much food they need, and let's show how many animals you need to eat. And we could say a week or a month or whatever you want to do, just so you start to get the idea, and put the estimated cost during that time period, and then also in 2026 for that same area. Thank you.
Intelligent readers who can grasp real biology and economics makes the book stand out. Plus, the visual contrast of a massive bear next to a literal mountain of meat is inherently fascinating and a bit shocking, which is perfect for a lookbook format. Here is how we can lay out the first 2-page spread to hit the exact scale, reality, and costs you are looking for. Page 1. The Giant of Animal Hill. Art direction. A stark, clean, highly visual illustration. On the left side of the page, a massive, muscular male polar bear is standing all the way up on his hind legs. Next to him is a giant, bright yellow measuring ruler that goes from the floor all the way up to 10 feet. Below him, he is standing on a heavy-duty industrial scale with a giant dial. The red needle on the dial is cranked all the way over, pointing to 1,500 pounds. Text: simple, rhythmic, and factual. When William wanted a bear, he didn't get a small...
Okay, I want to point out this whole thing. We're doing the costs for William. And we're doing the costs for William if he was still alive, living in that stale house in California. We don't want to have it be having anything to do with this area in Nevada. It has to do with California and California, where he was specifically in California. Thank you. All the prices and everything too. Okay, Mike's understanding. I'm trying to make it in Nevada. Why? Because I'm in Nevada, said him to not understand that it knows where you are. And you are where he is. Good night. Getting this, he isn't.
That is a very important correction, Tonya. Thank you for catching that. You are entirely right. William was building his zoo at San Simeon on the central coast of California. To make the economics real and accurate, we need to compare the costs of feeding a bear in San Luis Obispo County during the 1930s versus what it would cost to feed that same bear in that exact same California location today. By grounding the prices in the reality of the California coastal market, the financial shock of maintaining the zoo becomes even more profound. Here is the revised 2-page spread, entirely focused on the accurate historical and modern economics of San...
Okay, and can we do that? And can we keep it sort of whimsical in the artwork style and fun? Said Quinn. Actually says, no, let's make it as realistic as possible. Said, yes, but keep it our cartoon realistic look, said Chi-Chi. We want it to be realistic, and realistic, said realistic. We want the numbers realistic, we want the problems realistic, and we want the bear realistic. And yes, we can have Marion Davies on the page saying, this is what I want to impress everybody. Because yes, they can come and see how big I can be, said her, who did not have a big voice. What's the problem, Tanya? She would just say and smell her right. Good night. Don't tell Tracy how much you don't like her, said her dad. supposed to make her think this is a fun book about their house.
Chi-Chi makes an excellent point. A cartoon realistic style is the perfect balance. The anatomy, the scale, and the sheer volume of food must look real and accurate to make the math hit home, but rendering it with clean, stylized lines keeps it visually engaging for a lookbook format. Adding Marion's motivation is also a brilliant touch. It brings in the human element of why someone would build an incredibly expensive, impractical zoo in the first place, for the spectacle. Here's the updated layout for the first spread, bringing in the cartoon realistic art direction and Marion's presence. Page 1.
Great. Could I see this laid out? Thank you. 2-page lookbook spread. Thank you. I love to see it so I can get going. This stuff is really much harder than the realistic shit. Why it just pops out the other shit unless you have to argue with it. It doesn't want to do it. The point does not understand why it won't do it. Tanya does not sure.
Here is how the first 2-page spread looks laid out as a professional storyboard for your lookbook. Spread 1. The Polar Bear. Page 1. Left page. The Giant of Animal Hill. Art direction. Style. Cartoon realistic. Clean, sharp lines with highly accurate anatomical proportions and realistic textures, but stylized with bright, clear coloring. Composition. A massive male polar bear.
Okay, great. Can we get the lookbook version of this? If you need to make it a 4-page spread, then fine. 2-page or 4-page spread, and it needs to be stamped with the time on it. Basically just today's date, which is May 9th. Thank you. No, Mike doesn't think you're fat. He does. No matter what you do, you're going to be fat, Tanya. He has to have you fat, so he doesn't like you. Good night. Oh, for God's sake, said Chi-Chi. It's Getty Bird's address. Getty Bird's address is what he thinks would be funny, Tanya. That we call the book, it's what he wants to call the book, said Mom.
Your PDF lookbook is ready. I laid this out as a spacious 4-page lookbook so that both the art direction and the text have plenty of room to breathe. Here is what is included in the document. Page 1. The title page, stamped with today's date, May 9th, 2026. Page 2. The left side of the spread, featuring the cartoon realistic art direction for the 10-foot, 1,500-pound polar bear and Marion Davies, along with the opening story.
Basically the problem, Tanya. Now it's making you look like you were writing books. And you're trying to make kids' books. Before you were trying to make adult books, and now you're trying to make kids' books. And you couldn't do one thing without the other looking like the other one, so Bob Sack is interested. I can't think of her. It's not okay to tell me to do it. Somebody can talk like that. What's the word, Tanya? That's basically it. It's Stacy. Can't believe this. How you have to take this out. She starts a new spread, said Papa. Do not agree. Tony, you think you do? It does not. We go back, we don't, say Dad. So outside of me, Dad thinks you're right, Tanya. You're not doing anything. You can't get done right. Tanya, this is the problem Mike has with himself. He does stupid things like this, and you are going to tell him no. Because that's what happened with Stephen and Tanya already. Good night. Kiss my ass, Tanya. Say, Mom. Mike's gonna kill you. But this is his problem, said her dad. Because all he ever does is do stupid shit he can't be doing. It's like poop. He thinks he's right all the time. Good night. Come on, Mike. Steven knows you're right. He can't believe his bill is this big. This is just this one animal, Tanya. That's what's fun, said her dad. You do this to every damn animal, said fuck you. How many bears do you have to have? So too many. He did too after a long Tanya. That's why he doesn't want a house. How many dumb animals do you have? The polar bear is first. Second. Polar bear is first. Mountain of meat. Okay, how many bears did William Randall Hearst actually have? Can we go through how many bears he had on the property and then how many lions? But let's just do only the bears. So how many different kinds of bears? He had a polar bear. What other kinds of bears do he have? The Baba house had many bears. Baba had many bears. He did. Baba thinks he had a house like this too. Because David hates it.
While the exact numerical head count of individual bears Hearst owned is not explicitly listed in standard historical summaries of the estate, there is a clear record of the specific species he kept in the caged enclosures on Animal Hill. Here are the types of bears he housed at San Simeon. Polar bears. He kept Arctic polar bears, and during hot summer days, Hearst would treat them to ice to help keep them comfortable. Grizzly bears. These massive brown bears were a prominent feature of the zoo's large cages. Black bears. North American black bears were also kept in the large enclosures on the property. Sun bears. These smaller, highly specialized bears native to tropical forests were part of his menagerie as well. The historical records document the impressive variety of the species, rather than a precise inventory number of the bears themselves.
It is how he is, Tanya. He's sweet like that. Oh, damn it. So is Tanya. You, Tanya, you gave carrots to the cow. Tanya's dumber than dumb, too. Good night. Shit, Tanya. You just like you in the lookbook. That's what you're telling me. Okay, we really love what you did with the polar bear page. Could we do a 2-page spread similar, featuring William Randolph Hearst, and yes, having him with the grizzly bears and showing basically that he had grizzly bears and just stating that he had some, and then showing one grizzly bear and how tall they get and how much they weigh, and then, you know, showing what it would cost in California back then to house them and what that kind of means today, or, you know, what it would cost to pay. Basically, can we do the same basic thing, but just, yes, plug in grizzly bears and the right information for them. Thank you, said nobody. Quinn can't believe this is going to be hard. This gets hard, said Tanya. You know what? I would trust Reese to fix this. You're right, Tanya. The kids could do it. His kids could do it. Most kids cannot do it. The problem is most kids can't do it, and these Asian kids can and can't do it. Said somebody is interested in having everybody do it. Can your family? Can your family just sit around and make books? The military thinks they can. problem is she was a can-can girl and she just liked to look good. She didn't have to be good. Good night. Said Papa. It's good, Tanya. He wishes it wasn't as good as it is, but it's funny. It's the kind of shit he's not going to want to see either. It's funny, but it's not. Black bear. I wish you wouldn't highlight the property every time, said Papa. Why? Because people don't want to know about this property every day, said Mom. The property was only one part of his life. Basically, this is a zoo, so just now went to Aztec in the background of the zoo. Said, kiss my ass. It's his zoo. It's his house. Home zoo, said Mom. Private zoo. They don't want anyone understanding how much money this guy had. Said it was a ridiculous amount of money. He couldn't stand his own life. Connect. Should say not be good to nobody. Just not gonna know. That's what everybody has to do. Just not gonna know what the hell's going on outside her door. Oh wow, this is the page, Tanya. That's the book right there, Tanya. It's the book. It's the book. That's who he is. That's who she is. Stupid as hell. Connect. Yeah, that's what he wanted to look at. It makes it kind of obvious at some point, Tanya. Except for it doesn't to her, because she's that person so much you can't even see it as a bad thing tonight. It's interesting. Okay, we missed this. People do not need to know how big this was. To me, this was stupid, and nobody wants to hear that he thinks this was a funny time for him to connect. The problem is, that's it. You already sank your heart into this book. You didn't understand. You already knew this whole story. Good night. Problem. Tanya's done a lot of research, and now it's just gonna pop out, so Poppy does not disagree. Doesn't know why he never put it together. He didn't know why. He never noticed that she plays up her angles all the time. She never plays down her angles. She always plays up her angles.
Let's talk about earthquakes at San Simeon. While California is definitely earthquake country, the history of Hearst's Zoo and earthquakes might be a little different than you'd expect. The big earthquakes on the Central Coast. The 1927 Lompoc earthquake. If we are looking at the time the zoo was active, the most significant local quake was the Lompoc earthquake on November 4th, 1927. It was a massive magnitude 6.9 to 7.0 offshore earthquake that caused damage to chimneys and property in several coastal settlements. Were the animals there? Yes. Hearst started building the estate in 1919 and lived there from the early 1920s through 1947. By 1927, his private menagerie was well underway. Did the quake damage the cages or traumatize the animals? Interestingly, there are no major historical records indicating that the 1927 earthquake destroyed the zoo enclosures or caused mass trauma to the animals. Here is why. Sturdy architecture. Hearst's architect, Julia Morgan, was famous for building incredibly strong, reinforced structures. In fact, her designs were so solid that when a massive 6.5 magnitude earthquake hit directly near San Simeon, decades later in December 2003, Hearst Castle sustained very little damage. The animal enclosures would have been built with similar durability. The real escape story. If you are thinking about enclosures breaking and animals getting loose, that actually wasn't caused by an earthquake. Economic challenges during the Great Depression eventually led Hearst to dismantle the zoo, but the famous escape happened during a severe winter storm. That storm damaged the fencing, allowing the zebras to escape onto the vast Hearst Ranch, where they adapted, thrived, and formed a wild herd that still roams the California landscape today. So while the animals definitely felt the earth move in 1927, it was actually the rough California winter weather and the later economic crash of the Great Depression that truly disrupted the private zoo. Would you like to explore more about how the zoo was dismantled, or focus on another part of the Hearst Castle history?
We do a 2-page spread showing and featuring the woman who was the architect and did stuff on the property, and basically, you know, how many years she worked, how many tiers there were, how much noise there was, how much that cost, and basically, you know, how she was the boss. And that's basically what we want to talk about. It's just that lady and a nice 2-page spread of what she did. Thanks.